In the tranquil yet deceptive calm of a sprawling suburban enclave, where pristine hedges and identical mailboxes masked underlying fractures of division and disdain, an ordinary twilight stroll spiraled into a harrowing ordeal of bigotry and brazen authority abuse. Picture this: a devoted couple, intertwined in a moment of simple affection, meandering along tree-lined sidewalks in what should have been their sanctuary. Suddenly, they were accosted by imposters masquerading as enforcers, vigilante types, from the Homeowners Association, their makeshift badges gleaming under streetlights, symbols of a distorted sense of entitlement rather than legitimate power. The atmosphere grew electric with malice as one of these charlatans, his features hardened by years of unchallenged prejudice, lashed out without provocation. His hand sliced through the air, delivering a stinging slap to the woman's face. A black woman whose grace and presence challenged the unspoken hierarchies of the neighborhood. The impact reverberated, not just physically but as a stark emblem of the racial animus that festered in places purporting to be havens of equality. These weren't sworn officers, they were HOA busybodies, empowered by petty bylaws, selectively harassing those whose skin tone disrupted their monochromatic ideal of community. Unbeknownst to these aggressors, the man at her side was no passive bystander. He was Marcus Thompson, a decorated Navy SEAL, his physique sculpted by rigorous deployments and his mind sharpened by survival in hostile territories. As the wife's skin flushed with the burn of assault and degradation, Marcus's gaze transformed. From shock to steely resolve, a tempest gathering force. The fake cops chuckled, their arrogance inflated by group dynamics and obliviousness to the peril they had invoked, convinced their vests and attitudes rendered them untouchable. What ensued was more than a mere skirmish. It was a visceral unmasking of the entrenched racism woven into the fabric of American suburbia, where communities of color endured constant scrutiny and erasure. Drawn from the grim realities of documented cases where HOA overreach intersects with racial profiling, this narrative immerses you in the raw edges of discrimination. It's a chronicle of defiance amid oppression, where military precision collides with societal ugliness. Feel the pulse quicken as we peel back the layers, the subtle precursors of hostility, the mounting indignities, and the explosive release of justice long denied. This isn't fiction spun from thin air. It's inspired by the countless stories of black families navigating spaces rigged against them, where a simple walk can become a battleground. Hold on as we journey deeper, unraveling the threads of curiosity that bind the setup to this fateful night, escalating toward a confrontation that would leave physical and metaphorical scars. The air hangs heavy with anticipation. Will retribution heal the wounds of injustice, or merely expose them further? Dive in with me, and let's uncover the full scope of this gripping tale of resilience, rage, and reckoning. Marcus Thompson's life had been a mosaic of triumphs over adversity, each piece forged in the crucible of determination against a backdrop of systemic barriers. Growing up in the vibrant yet volatile neighborhoods of Southside Chicago, Marcus learned early the art of navigation, dodging not just physical dangers but the pervasive stereotypes that labeled young black boys as problems before they could prove otherwise. His parents, a factory worker and a school teacher, preached education and resilience, pushing him toward excellence. Excelling in academics and athletics, Marcus enlisted in the Navy at 18, drawn to the promise of structure and service. The SEAL program tested him beyond imagination. Endless swims in frigid waters, sleep-deprived marches through rugged terrain, and simulations that mimicked the chaos of war. He emerged not just qualified, but transformed, a warrior with a quiet intensity, his dark skin bearing tattoos from missions in Iraq and Afghanistan, reminders of brothers lost and victories hard won. Retirement brought a yearning for normalcy. Marcus met Elena during a veterans support group. She was volunteering, her warm smile cutting through his guarded exterior. Elena Rivera Thompson, with her Afro-Caribbean heritage, brought color and rhythm to his structured world. A graphic designer by trade, she specialized in branding for small businesses, her creativity spilling into their life together, painting murals on weekends, cooking fusion meals that blended their cultures. They married in a small ceremony, dreaming of roots in a place free from the urban grind. After months of house hunting, they settled on a charming two-story in Willow Creek Estates, a gated suburb outside Atlanta. The community boasted parks, a clubhouse, and strict HOA guidelines promising order and beauty. For Marcus and Elena, it symbolized achievement, a black couple thriving despite the odds. Yet, cracks appeared almost immediately. The HOA, led by a cadre of longtime residents, mostly white and retired, wielded rules like weapons. Their welcome packet overflowed with stipulations: no visible trash bins, approved paint colors only, limits on garden ornaments. Marcus and Elena complied meticulously, but soon noticed disparities. Their neighbors' overgrown shrubs went unmentioned, while a note arrived about their mailbox flag being non-standard. Elena laughed it off initially, planting marigolds to brighten the yard, but Marcus's instincts prickled. He'd seen this before. Subtle. Gatekeeping, where rules flexed for some and rigidified for others based on unspoken criteria. Curiosity deepened as incidents accumulated. At a community barbecue, whispers followed them. How did they afford this? Or, they must be renting. Marcus overheard a board member joking about keeping the neighborhood's character. Elena, ever the bridge builder, joined a committee proposing inclusive events, but her ideas were dismissed with polite deflections. Tensions simmered beneath daily routines. Marcus consulting for security firms from home, Elena freelancing in her studio. Evenings brought walks, a ritual to decompress, discussing baby names or travel plans. The suburb's facade of harmony belied undercurrents, reports in local forums of minority families facing anonymous complaints, cars keyed, pets poisoned. The fake HOA cops were a recent addition, volunteers patrolling in golf carts, armed with clipboards and superiority complexes. Officially, they checked for violations. Unofficially, they profiled. Marcus researched them quietly, discovering ties to the board, friends and relatives enforcing an agenda of exclusion. One evening, as a golden hour bathed the streets in warm light, the couple set out. Birds chirped, children played, but an unease lingered. They passed manicured lawns, nodding to neighbors who offered tight smiles. Turning onto Elm Drive, the patrol appeared. 3 men in neon vests, Harlan at the helm, a former salesman with a chip on his shoulder, flanked by 2 acolytes eager for action. The approach was textbook intimidation, lights in faces, questions laced with suspicion. "You live here?" Harlan demanded, ignoring their affirmations. Elena's poise held, but the air thickened. Marcus sensed the pivot. From inquiry to confrontation, his training alerting him to escalating threats. This wasn't random. It was the culmination of brewing resentment, a test of their place. As curiosity morphed into dread, the stage was set for injustice to erupt, drawing from real-world echoes of HOA discrimination lawsuits where race played the unspoken lead role. The standoff began with deceptive civility, a veneer quickly cracking under the weight of ingrained biases. The 3 fake cops encircled Marcus and Elena, their postures aggressive, flashlights probing like accusatory fingers. Harlan, the ringleader, puffed his chest, reciting fabricated violations. Loitering, suspicious behavior. His eyes lingered on Elena, a mix of disdain and something darker, rooted in the historical devaluation of black women's autonomy. Marcus remained composed, hands visible, voice steady, a tactic from his SEAL days to de-escalate, but here it only fueled their ire. Elena's attempt to defuse, politely offering their address, met resistance. Harlan snatched her ID when she produced it, scrutinizing it as if counterfeit. "Doesn't look right," he muttered, passing it to his cronies who nodded in feigned agreement. The second man, a wiry type named Chet, chimed in with barbs. "We get a lot of outsiders causing trouble." The implication hung heavy. Outsiders meaning those not white, not fitting the mold. Tension coiled as Elena reached for her phone, intending to record or call help. Harlan's reaction was swift. He batted it away, the device skittering across the sidewalk, its case cracking on impact. Marcus's pulse quickened, but he held back, evaluating. The third man, burly and silent until now, kicked the phone further, smirking. Words escalated, slurs veiled as questions, probing their jobs, their real origins. "You sure you belong here?" Harlan sneered, his racism bubbling too, the surface like oil in water. Elena stood tall, demanding they leave, but Harlan grabbed her arm, twisting it painfully. The slap followed, a open-handed strike that landed with a crack, her head snapping sideways, a red imprint blooming on her cheek. The act was deliberate, a power play echoing centuries of violence against black women, from slavery's whips to modern-day assaults dismissed as overreactions. Shock rippled through Elena, her hand flying to her face, eyes stinging with tears of rage rather than weakness. Marcus's world tunneled, memories flooded, his grandmother's stories of segregation, his own encounters with biased superiors in the military, viral videos of similar injustices. This was no isolated incident. It mirrored national patterns where HOAs served as modern redlining tools, harassing minorities out of desirable areas. The men's laughter grated, emboldening them to shove Marcus, testing his limits. One brandished a pepper spray canister, another radioed the board for support, code for more like-minded reinforcements. Emotional layers deepened. Elena's fear mingled with defiance, her mind racing to past microaggressions, the store clerk following her, the job interview where her qualifications were questioned. Marcus wrestled internal conflict, his oath to protect, balanced against the knowledge that retaliation could label him the aggressor in a system skewed against black men. Neighbors' curtains twitched, but no one intervened, their inaction a form of complicity in the racism festering unchecked. The group closed ranks, one kicking at Marcus's feet, another hurling explicit epithets now, shedding all pretense as minutes stretched, additional provocations mounted. They rifled through Elena's purse when she dropped it, scattering contents, mocking personal items. Marcus positioned protectively, his body language shifting to defensive readiness. Feet planted, weight balanced. The air thrummed with potential violence, the injustice amplifying with each taunt. Broader stakes emerged. This wasn't just about them. It symbolized the fight against discriminatory practices documented in civil rights reports, where communities weaponized rules to maintain racial homogeneity. Elena's whisper to Marcus, "Don't let them win," heightened the turmoil, her resilience shining amid vulnerability. The tipping point loomed as Harlan raised his hand again, this time toward Marcus. The tension peaked, a symphony of heartbeats and harsh breaths, building inexorably toward the clash that would redefine the night. The eruption was instantaneous, a fusion of precision and pent-up fury that transformed the suburban street into a battlefield. Harlan's second swing aimed at Marcus with the baton retrieved from the ground, whistled through the air, but met only emptiness. Marcus sidestepped with the grace of a predator, his seal training activating like muscle memory. In a fluid motion, he seized Harlan's extended arm, applying a joint lock that forced the man to his knees with a yelp. The baton dropped once more, and Marcus kicked it away, his eyes locked on the threats. Chet and the burly accomplice surged forward in unison, a chaotic assault born of panic and prejudice. Chet swung a wild haymaker, but Marcus ducked, countering, with a sharp jab to the ribs that cracked bone and expelled air in a guttural gasp. As Chet doubled over, Marcus followed with an uppercut to the chin, sending him reeling backward, blood spraying from a split lip as he collapsed against a mailbox. Denting it, the burly man barreled in like a bull, arms outstretched for a tackle. Marcus pivoted, using the man's momentum to trip him over an extended leg. The fall was thunderous. Face met pavement with unrelenting force, nose shattering in a spray of crimson, teeth chipping on the curb. Harlan, freeing himself with a desperate twist, scrambled up and charged again, fury distorting his features into a mask of hate. He clawed at Marcus's face, nails raking skin, but Marcus absorbed the scratches, responding with a knee to the midsection that folded Harlan like paper. As he gasped for breath, Marcus delivered a controlled hook to the jaw, bone yielding with a crunch, Harlan's head snapping back, body crumpling in a heap. Blood pooled beneath him, his once smug visage now a ruined canvas of bruises and breaks. The intensity saturated every sense, the metallic tang of blood, the ragged breaths of the defeated, the distant wail of sirens piercing the night. Elena, regaining composure, retrieved her phone and dialed emergency services, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Marcus scanned the perimeter, ensuring no further attacks, his adrenaline-fueled calm a stark contrast to the groaning men at his feet. One attempted to rise, clutching his mangled face, but Marcus deterred him with a firm shove back down, not out of cruelty but necessity, preventing escape until accountability arrived. This pinnacle wasn't mere vengeance. It was a cathartic release against the racism that had dared manifest so violently. The fake cops' broken faces symbolized shattered delusions of supremacy, their vests torn and soiled, authority exposed as fraudulent. Neighbors finally emerged, phones out recording, their earlier silence now replaced by murmurs of shock. Marcus turned to Elena, his touch gentle on her injured cheek, a silent vow amid the chaos. Emotions crested, relief, vindication, lingering anger, all interwoven in this defining moment. As police cars pulled up, lights strobing, the scene crystallized, 3 assailants subdued, a couple standing resilient. The climax echoed broader truths, challenging the narratives that excused such bigotry, forcing a reckoning with the systemic flaws allowing it to thrive. With the arrival of actual law enforcement, the night's turmoil began to uncoil into clarity and consequence. Officers separated the parties, taking statements under the glow of flashlights. Marcus and Elena detailed the assault, the racial slurs, the unprovoked violence, evidence bolstered by Elena's swelling cheek and the scattered belongings. The fake cops, nursing their injuries, spun tales of self-defense, but inconsistencies unraveled their lies. Paramedics treated the men on site before cuffing them for transport. Charges of assault, battery, and false impersonation loomed large. Investigations delved deeper, uncovering a web of HOA misconduct. Records showed selective enforcement, fines disproportionately levied on minority homeowners, anonymous tips targeting them exclusively. The board faced scrutiny, with emails revealing prejudice discussions, maintaining property values as code for exclusion. Civil suits ensued, filed by Marcus and Elena alongside other affected families, leading to the dissolution of the volunteer patrol and mandatory diversity training. The community newsletter, once a tool for control, now featured apologies and reform pledges. For Marcus and Elena, healing was multifaceted. Physically, bruises faded. Emotionally, they sought counseling, transforming pain into advocacy. Marcus spoke at veteran forums about racism's intersection with military service, highlighting how heroes abroad faced villains at home. Elena's art evolved, her designs incorporating motifs of resistance, sold-out exhibits drawing crowds, proceeds funding anti-discrimination nonprofits. Their home became a hub for neighborhood dialogues, fostering alliances where division once reigned. The ripple effects extended far. The incident, viral via leaked footage, ignited national conversations. Media outlets dissected HOA racism, citing studies from the ACLU on discriminatory practices akin to historical covenants. Social platforms buzzed with HOA justice, amplifying voices of the marginalized, pressuring similar associations nationwide to audit policies. Policymakers took note, proposing legislation to curb such abuses, ensuring community rules served all equitably. End. Reflection. This saga underscored resilience's power against prejudice. Marcus and Elena's story became a beacon, illustrating that while injustice persists, confrontation can catalyze change. What if every act of bigotry met such unyielding opposition? Envision communities where diversity strengthens rather than threatens, where safety isn't color-coded. This narrative urges introspection. Examine your surroundings for hidden biases, act against them. Silence perpetuates harm. Solidarity dismantles it. Let's commit to equity, ensuring no one endures what they did.